What we're talking about is the handstand, and a major thing that people actually overlook. So a little bit of a step that they skip when they start doing handstand training. If you've done any type of handstand training, you've looked up some articles online, got some videos, gone to a course, no matter what it is, what approach you've taken towards handstands, you would have found out a few of the key components that are really important for a handstand. So number one, which I know you would know about already, is that you need to have a strong and mobile wrist to support yourself in the handstand. That travels up to the elbow. That's really, really important as well for the handstand. And you know that you need shoulders that open up well. So you normally start there. You normally think, okay, so the most important thing is wrist, elbows, and shoulders, otherwise I won't be stacked in a handstand. So you spend a ton of time on that. The second thing normally people spend a lot of time on and time developing is their position. So everybody knows about the pelvic tilt. General stance would be a little bit arched, and for the handstand you really do need to learn how to tuck the pelvis under to get that flat back. But the one thing that everybody actually misses before they start getting themselves inverted is they don't think enough about the entry. Getting into the handstand doesn't just magically happen. A lot of work actually goes into developing a very strong and controlled entry. And the biggest thing is people don't have the lower body mobility to get themselves into that position, and that's normally what is holding them back from getting those balances and the feeling of doing a handstand in the first place. So we know that wrist, elbows, and shoulders are really, really important for the handstand, but it does need to be worked on simultaneously with the lower body mobility. Otherwise, you'll have prepared yourself. You know, you would have done lots and lots of weight-bearing wrist flows, okay? You'll be able to hold yourself up for a certain period of time, you know, with that locked elbow. You might have done a lot of work on your shoulder range, but then when it comes to stepping in or kicking into your handstand, you might have spent a long time just neglecting that part of things, and that will come back to haunt you when you start wanting to kick into a handstand normally rather than doing a two-footed entry. All right, so let's look at some handstands and let's look at what kind of range we need for that kick up. I would lunge and reach, and you can see here, as I'm tipping in, I already need to have that little bit of a split through the lower body to kick up. Okay, past this point, yep, you can straighten your legs. And then you'll also need it on the way down. One other thing here, you do need to be able to have flat hands and a flat foot just touching the floor, and this is a huge, huge struggle for people. A lot of people can't even get this position. When I get them to go hands by the foot, this is happening. They need to get really low, or they physically can't actually reach the ground. They're about here. And that's gonna make the handstand kick-ups a lot more difficult. So I'm gonna show you a couple of exercises to work on your lower body mobility and active mobility to help you with your handstand. So this first one is just a basic inchworm, but it's really useful for what I was talking about before, about having the ability to touch your toes or just get your hands close enough to the feet. Just need to start with your knees locked out. If you can't, you can kind of get away with a little bit of knee bend here, that's okay, but you do need to find a position on the floor where your palms are flat. So initially you might be, you know, out somewhere here, but you need to make your goal to be able to get closer, okay? So you would start like this, palms flat, slowly inchworm out. Just go as low as you can before you fall onto the floor, and then walk your way back as well. And you want to spend a little bit of time in a position that's kind of uncomfortable for your hamstrings, and you can just repeat this for a whole set of 10. I like that one because it does help you warm up your lower body, but it at the same time gets you to work on your core alignment already, which you're gonna need later for the handstand. So it's kind of just a win-win warming up with that one. All right, so you're gonna set yourself up in your wall split, very similar to the same way that you would normally enter into your handstand. So I'm mainly referring to how far your hands should be away from your foot. Don't push it too much, just go to the normal way that you would set up for your handstand. I'll have my hands flat here, a little bit of a bent leg, and a straight back. Okay, so you'll just chill out there for a little bit. I think I might come down a little bit, something like this. Okay, and then you're going to do some activations where you just drive up with that back heel. And I do want you to do this one on both sides because you definitely feel a huge difference with your dominant side to your non-dominant side. So that one is really important, okay? You can build up a lot of time just holding that wall split. Tons of people find that really challenging as it is. And then you also need to work those activations where you do drive through that back heel while your hands and your base leg are still on the ground. The last tips I'm going to offer on improving your handstand entry has to do with improving your active split. So my advice would be to spend some time developing your splits. So that would be your front splits on both sides and your side splits. Not everybody actually has the patience to develop a full split, and that's totally fine. I'm not saying that you have to, but it is a good idea to just train the splits anyway. Even if it's not your goal to master the full split, just do a little bit of split training because it's going to help you during the split portion of your handstand entry. I'll show you a quick way that you can do active splits just if you have some floor. So all you need is some floor space, preferably something smooth or shiny, tiles or something like that, and a pair of socks. I've just got an ab mat here for some cushioning for my knee, and I've got a shiny floor. I'm just gonna lunge like this, and you're gonna do some slide outs and pull back. Guys, be really careful with this. Don't go too far. Just go baby steps. A couple of centimeters at a time is good. So you can think of it as strength training for your splits, and it does feel really good as well. It feels very different backing your split training up with this after your stretch, rather than just stretching and then letting that sort of regress afterwards.